You can configure tax rates for your invoices under the Payments, Invoices, and Taxes section of the Settings tab. Just scroll down to the Tax Templates section and click the plus icon to create a new template. Give your template a name that your studio will use to identify this tax configuration. Your client will not see the template name on their invoice. They will instead see the tax label, which we'll discuss shortly. Next, select how you want to calculate the tax. You can apply it against the subtotal of an invoice, or you can calculate it against the retail price of the products or services in a package. For example, if I only wanted to calculate the tax against my products, like albums, prints, and books, I would only select products. My services, like my shooting time or retouching fees, would not be taxed. In this way, you can distinguish between what is taxable and what is not in a package. You'll also need to determine how the tax will be distributed in the payment schedule. You can collect all of the tax on the final payment of the invoice, or you can collect a portion of it on each payment. If you are required to collect tax on shipping costs, just enable this option. By default, your taxes will be exclusive, which means they'll be added to the invoice's subtotal after they are calculated. However, you can make them inclusive by enabling this option. An inclusive tax is not added to the subtotal. It is included with it. For example, let's take a look at these distinctions on an actual invoice. For an exclusive tax, a $100 invoice with a tax rate of 10% generates a $10 tax. The tax is added to the subtotal to create a grand total of $110. This is typically how a tax is applied in places like the United States and Canada. Now let's look at an inclusive tax. On a $100 invoice with a 10% tax rate, the tax amount is $909. This tax is part of the subtotal. It's not added to it. This is typically how places like New Zealand and Australia display taxes on their invoices. After configuring your tax settings, then set your tax rates in your template. The tax label is how the tax will be displayed on an invoice. The tax can either be a percentage or a fixed dollar amount. Then define the amount. You can also add multiple tax rates into your template if necessary. For example, I'll add a local tax as well. When the template is used on an order, both of the rates would apply to it. If necessary, you can set up multiple tax templates. For example, if you're a studio that applies different tax rates because you operate in a tri-state area, you would set up 3 different tax templates, each with a different tax rate for each state. When creating a proposal or invoice, you can then select a template from your list, and that tax configuration will automatically apply to that order. If you ever need to change your tax rates, just go back to the Settings tab and adjust your templates. Since tax laws differ from place to place, we highly recommend that you contact your Department of Revenue or other governing tax body. They will be able to tell you how you should be computing and collecting tax. ShootQ's tax template configuration is flexible enough to accommodate just about any situation.